tell me what you're doing here.
Let's flip a coin. Heads I tell you, tails we go out on a date.
Warning, Otalku contains adult language and discussion. If you're easily offended, do not continue to listen. It's over 9,000!
Welcome, everybody, to another episode. Actually, I should state the second episode of the all-new, all-amazing Otaku Force.
Hooray!
We've reached our second stage of evolution from Otaku to Otaku Force. And today we have another awesome show for you guys. Again, you can find us at rainmandigitalmedia.com, Google Play, Spotify, iTunes, and Stitcher. And today in the studio, it's a small group in the studio today. It's just myself and my Filipino brother, David Sabal.
That means more secrets have to come out now, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't. Let's keep those to your fucking self, David. This isn't the David reveal hour, okay?
Well, you never know. You might need it.
No, we don't, David. It's just you and me for this one. So, since Halloween 2020 is on its way out, actually it's already out, we're going to round out our spooky season of animes with a couple of spooky ones, or, you know, a witchy one and a kind of a horror, supernatural-ish one.
I don't know how you would classify that for Higurashi.
Yeah, so the first one we're going to talk about, as David kind of already alluded to, is Higurashi When They Cry New. Now, for those of you who are fans of Higurashi, this is, from my understanding, is a reboot/sequel.
Yes.
How that works, I don't fucking know. Because generally, if you do a reboot, you're restarting. If you do a sequel, you're continuing. But this one, apparently, from my understanding of reading up, because I did not watch the original Higurashi, which I'm going to go back and watch to see why some fans are so disappointed in this version. Apparently, that one's 60 episodes long.
Yes.
And this one so far is just 4.
Yeah.
And it seems like, from what I gathered, it's like a time loop based on a character. It's almost like they're reliving this incident.
And also, you got to remember that Higurashi, on not just that this is a reboot of a prior anime that was 60 episodes long, it's actually a video game,
and it's also there's also a manga version as well. So I saw this and I'd heard about it. I said, okay, because I remember I always saw people talking about it. I was like, shit, I need to add it to my list. It actually is on my list. And this one, I was like, okay, cool. Higurashi knew it starts at the beginning. Perfect. We can check this out. Maybe it's a reboot. And then I was like, and then I found it's also a sequel. I was like, okay, fuck it. We'll give it a shot. And so Higurashi When They Cry New is about the new kid, Keiichi Maebara, is settling into his new home of peaceful Hinamizawa Village. Making quick friends with the girls from his school, he's arrived in time for the big festival of the year. But something about this isolated town seems off, and his feelings of dread continue to grow with a gnawing fear that he's right. What dark secrets could this small community be hiding? This synopsis came directly from Funimation's website.
And it doesn't do it any justice.
It doesn't. And I looked at other synopses, like an Anime News Network. They're all pretty much the same. They all kind of dance around the same type of explanation, but they don't really tell you, like, there's no real kind of preview of what the series is really about.
Oh yeah, because like the thing is like it's very, if you give too much about Higurashi, it ruins the mystery behind it.
But not enough. You're just kind of like, okay, so what? Okay, cool. So it's supernatural or something's weird. And so in looking into this, the director is Keiichiro Kawaguchi, whose actual directing credits include Hayate the Combat Butler, Korakake no Orgel, and then Idolmaster Live for You. And the production company is Creators in Pack, who did Bloodivores, Blood Blockade Front, and The Ancient Magus's Bride. So kind of, the production Creators in Pack, I'm experiencing kind of the supernatural horror genre. And then the director, kind of not so much.
Oh, yeah.
But so in watching like the first episode, and the first episode just kind of throws you in. There's no like segue, like kind of slow lead into like, hey, this is going to be a really fucked up anime.
Yes.
It's just a dude who I'm assuming, which I'm now pretty certain is Keiichi, just beating the shit out of somebody with a fucking bat.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like a couple of swings and they're dead. No.
He makes some
this
mashed
is
potatoes.
fucking meat tenderizing.
Yeah.
Like, this dude is going to town.
Oh, yeah. And, like, you're greeted by that first. So.
And then so you're like, okay. So then you expect it's going to jump to, like, what the fuck happened and, like, everything. No. It pulls a fucking Groundhog Day. And
Yes.
it goes to a calendar. And he's fucking waking up, gets up, looks outside, takes in a fucking morning air. And it's like,
Yeah. And it's almost kind of like suddenly the tone even changed. Even in the anime.
It seemed fucking lighthearted.
It suddenly becomes a lighthearted comedy. And I'm like going, what the hell just happened? Because like normally in any story, whether it's anime, movies, or anything, if you do that type of tonal
you
shift,
set the pace, you set the tone for
Yeah.
the show. This one goes, hey, here's a dude fucking meat tenderizing somebody with a baseball bat. And then, now we're gonna wake up. We're gonna have breakfast. We're walking to school, meeting our friends,
and you're doing all the jokes that you expect out of a
like
harem
slice of
dating
life,
scene.
or like a slice of life anime.
Yeah.
You know, you've got that, and I'm just like, okay. And then was it just me? But I found it kind of creepy. I mean, like, I understood when they got to the school, like, I realized, okay, it's an all ages classroom.
Yes.
But I also got kind of creeped out by the two younger girls. Were like, they were just like so friendly. She's like, oh, and I'm just like,
And the other one's like sadistic for some strange reason.
But it just seems like, is she like flirting with him? Like, just like that, like, I'm going to like torture the shit out of you because I like you? Or,
Yeah.
And
That's the vibe you get.
And I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, I mean, we've both seen some really fucked up anime. Like,
Yeah.
we're not even going to like dance around that. Oh, I've never seen anything like that. No. We've seen some fucked up anime. Like, ones we've reviewed on the show and ones we haven't reviewed on the show. And maybe we will, maybe we won't. But this one, I'm just like, I don't know if I should feel bad for watching this or like, should I go read the manga and like see if I feel the same way? Should I watch the original series and feel the same way?
Well,
or see if I feel the same way. I should say if I see, do I feel this? It's kind of like is the original series just like this, or is this kind of one of those reboot sequels, resequels? We'll call it a resequel. A resequel where they just kind of go, fuck it.
And that's the thing is kind of like, I don't know if that was meant to happen like that, but also it just had this really weird vibe of like what you said, you felt like I shouldn't be watching this.
It felt uncomfortable because like you realize, okay, it's okay, whatever, huh? Yeah. And then the two girls, I just thought they were just like, they're going to be part of the classroom. That's it. And then the two girls he shows up with that are his age, it's going to be those three. And then it turns out to be all five. And you're just like, okay. And then they slowly like drop hints at like kind of what's going on, but then you don't know what's going on.
Yeah. And like they have those smash cuts of tonal changes, like in their dialogue where it's all of a sudden it's happy go lucky.
And then it's mainly the character Reina Ryugu, who's voiced by Mai Nakahara, who did Juvia Luxar from Fairy Tail, Musashi in Horizon in the Middle of Nowhere, which is straight fucking fan service, and then Sekhmet in Ray Zero Starting Life in Another World. So she does a really good job at playing Reina when she's like happy-go-lucky, she's kind of ditzy, but also has a crush on Keiichi, but like doesn't want to show it, but then also kind of like gets nervous, but wants to like make him happy. And then there's points where she changes tone where she's like serious, almost like she's fucking crazy when she does that. But it's such a change in her character, and she does it really well, like the change in tone and the change in the way she talks. And then the character snaps back so quickly, and Mai does it really well where she goes from happy-go-lucky to crazy, serious, insane bitch to happy-go-lucky, I want to dig out a fucking Colonel Sanders statue from the fucking
waste area.
Yeah, the what is it?
It's
dump.
Almost kind of like
the garbage dump.
Garbage dump.
And there's a point in the show where Keiichi's helping her, and she goes, "Oh, let me go get an axe," and comes back with, it looks like it's a fucking hat. It's not an axe or anything. It's a fucking sword. It's a
machete.
It's a fucking orc-looking machete.
Yeah.
And she's standing there looking at him like she's gonna fucking ice his ass.
And that's what I was waiting for.
And she's like, "Oh, you scared me. I brought you this." Wait, what?
What?
In the fuck?
And I can understand, say, like, if they were doing that to set tension with Keiichi, right? But it absolutely felt like that was solely for the audience.
Yeah.
Just to
kind of give them a hint.
To give them a hint.
And Keiichi Maebara, who's voiced by Soichiro Hoshi, and I'm going to read his credits a little bit backwards because I want to save the last one, his last most recent voice for last. He did Kira Yamamoto in Mobile Suit Gundam Seed. He also did Gino Weinberg in Code Geass Lelouch of Rebellion R2. And then in most recent, in the series Baki, he does the voice for Muhammad Ali Jr.
Yep.
And I think we've talked about a lot of voice actors, and especially in the Japanese, voice actors who do characters really well, or the characters they voice, like they make them sound really whiny and everything.
Yeah.
With Soichiro voicing Keiichi, he's kind of got that, young man, like, I don't want to say like teenage boy, but he does it really well. And he's really, this series is all about tonal changes, whether it's in the scene, actual scenery, actual tone of the scene, or in dialogue.
Definitely in the dialogue.
And Keiichi, when he starts realizing that something's off about this town and something's a little bit off about Reina,
his character starts.
Right. And that's after he meets the police officer.
Yes.
Which when he showed up, because they kind of, the way he shows up, it's just like something happens, he's there, but you only find out that something happened after he shows up.
Yes.
And so, but then also too, like, and I'm going to go back, and I think we'll make this for the site. You and I'll go back and kind of check out the manga and the original series.
Yeah.
And then kind of do a follow-up review for the site, is just see, because when the old man shows up, he's like, do you mind sitting in my car and talking to me? He's like,
how creepy was that?
Like, and he's sitting in the fucking back. He's like, are you okay with AC being on? And I'm like, is he gonna fucking like ask him if he wants candy? Is he gonna ask him if he's okay to wear a fucking Viking suit while he takes pictures? Like, what the hell? Fuck?
And it's like when you get those moments, it's very jarring because you're like going, okay, is something, you can't trust anybody.
Well, and it's just, but they throw it. It seems like this is thrown together.
Yeah, and
that there's, I don't know if it's pacing or parts of the story that we're not getting in this new version. But it just seems like they jump. They introduce a character, something happens, character's now gone.
Well, on top
or something
of that,
happens to a character.
On top of that, if you watch the calendar like jumps days.
Yeah, because it's counting down to the 22nd of what June was it? June?
Yeah, June 22nd, and it's like in 1983.
Yeah. So it jumps and it gets to June 22nd on the third episode. It's on June 22nd. And I'm like, okay, this is when shit's gonna happen. Nothing fucking happened.
Nothing happened.
But there's a revelation in that episode that you get, but then nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
So now I'm like, well, fuck, I need to watch the fourth episode now because I want to know what happens. And I know I said that this seems thrown together, but it still grabs me to be like, okay, well, what the fuck happens next?
The weird thing was, like, when I got to the third episode, I was trying to figure out, okay, do I like this series? Obviously, this intrigues me. Because it just like you, it makes me want to watch the fourth episode. And I came to realize this gave me the vibes of like when I watched the Nicolas Cage Wicker Man, where
it just kind of like,
it's
where
like
he's
really odd, where you have these like, you have this movie or you have this project that basically you're just watching and the story's going forward, but suddenly they have like these smash cuts of tonal changes.
Well, and The Wicker Man with Nicolas Cage is a great example. But I think that's a lot smoother with those tonal changes than I think Higurashi is.
Well, the thing about Higurashi, and then you throw in the whole element, especially in the second one, when you kind of get this idea in the very beginning that it's more than just the characters are strange.
Yeah.
This entire area
this entire town is strange.
Because like something's affecting time.
Right. Well, and also you get that kind of that type of effect in Nicolas Cage's Wicker Man, but it doesn't jump like days and weeks.
It's more or less kind of like real time.
Yeah. And I think that's where those two differ. Is I think Wicker Man moves a lot smoother because it's just kind of in real time and it moves in hours and minutes instead of days. But, and also I was, I'm also always waiting, like when stuff like that, like when I watched Wicker Man, I was waiting for Iron Maiden's Wicker Man song to kick in. Like when they were taking him up to, the giant Wicker Man.
The giant Wicker Man.
I was waiting for it to fucking play. I'm like, yeah, no, it didn't play. So I was fucking disappointed. But with Higurashi, now I'm just going, okay, well, what the fuck happened to the two? Like, there's two characters that go missing.
Yes.
And I was going, what the fuck happened? Because you never really met one.
Yeah.
They just showed up and it's like, oh, she's missing too. It's a woman. And you go, she's missing too. And I'm like, what purpose does she serve? Like, why is she so important?
And like, I started actually wondering myself because I don't know if you noticed this, but while I'm watching this, there's no adults at all.
No, it's all kids. Like you briefly meet Kaiichi's dad. You meet the cop. You meet Tomika or Tomi Makita or whatever. The photographer. The photographer.
Yeah.
You meet him in bursts.
But if you notice, a lot of the adults,
it's just all kids. And the other thing too is that there's nobody else in this fucking town. It seems like until they have their giant fucking festival. And then everybody shows up and you're like, well, where the fuck were all these people like before?
Yeah,
because you when it shows them in school, where's the fucking teacher? And then the teacher shows up all of a sudden and goes, "Oh, hey, Keiichi, there's somebody at the school gates that wants to talk to you." Oh, Mrs. So and So. Wait, that's his teacher. Where did she come in? Was she off?
Yeah.
Did they like? And I know they don't have to show them in class like learning shit, but when they enter the class, she's not even there. I was just like, okay, all right. So I mean, I get it centers around the kids, but there's usually background characters and things like that. And kind of watching again, like we've kind of stated, we both want to watch the 4th episode.
Yeah.
But also this has kind of gotten us to go, well, let's go back and watch the original series and even, maybe read some of the manga just to see, because I want to know where this differs and why people are just like, this was a waste of time. This was, dry and dull. Who was this for?
I think this was honestly for new people, just like us, who they want the fans to suddenly go back and look at the video game, look at the manga,
right?
Look at the 60 episode series.
But my thing is, if you're going to do something like this and you're going to like reboot / make it a sequel, you kind of keep the introductory story the same.
Yeah.
And you add on to it, whether there's more to tell or not. So normally at the end of our reviews and ratings, we kind of go, I recommend this. I don't recommend this. I'm out on this right now. I can't say yay or nay because I want to watch the 4th episode and then I want to compare it to the original. Because right now, if this is what Higurashi is in the original series, is just a longer version of it, I probably won't recommend it. It's interesting, but I don't feel this is giving me enough story to fully understand what's going on.
And I think that's probably where a lot of fans of the entire series basically dislike this series, because you do not get the full scope of like what's going on. Well, and you only get a hint.
Yeah. Well, I even read from, one fan's review that they posted online, and then Momo-kun, who's a cosplayer, she's done cosplays of this. She even posted, she's like, don't watch the new one, go back and watch the original. I can't remember her comments, but she just didn't say it didn't do it service. But
my rebuttal to people who say that, especially like fans, is like, but if you're trying to sell this to a new fan,
somebody who's never seen it,
a new audience, the only thing that I would say, I'm like you, I don't think I can actually recommend this quite yet, because to a normal viewer, like say for example, if you got Mike, or if you got Barb,
my wife Casey or Raina, any
of them, this series would go over their heads.
Well, and Casey was even watching this with me, and she, normally she would have been on the show, but she's, she was out today helping her sister. When we were watching it, she was kind of, we were just like hanging out. We were laying in bed watching it, just kind of relaxing. She just kind of, I don't think she's seemed like she gave up and just like kind of, took a nap.
Well, no, that's what happened to Barb. When I watched it with Barb, she fell asleep. And then the only time she ever woke up was, and I noticed this with each episode, you get through the episode where it feels like what I say a video game is. Right?
Yeah.
You get to all of a sudden, like,
the
20
cut
minutes, 15
scene,
minutes. Yeah.
that's gonna like lead into the next part, and then
lead into the mystery, and suddenly, boom. Then all of a sudden it
either ends or the tone changes.
The tone changes. And that's what wakes her up. And she's like going, am I watching? She literally looked at me and says, are you still watching the same anime? Because this doesn't make sense. And I'm like going, I know, but if you were watching this fully and see the tonal changes, if you can see the mystery, what's going on, I can see how that would intrigue certain viewers.
Right. And so I'm hoping this goes past 4 episodes. If it's just the 4 episodes,
I mean,
then
if it ends at 4, especially where they ended off at 3.
Yeah, if they're just gonna throw it all into one more episode, then I honestly will come back and be like, wow, this is a no-go. So we're gonna move on to our next show after this short little break.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, we're back here with Otaku Force. Thank you for joining us for another episode. We just finished doing our review of Higurashi, When They Cry New, and now we're going to move on to another show, another spooky anime, if you will.
I don't know if you would call this spooky.
I don't call it spooky, but it's very witchy, and it's actually one that I was really excited about when they announced they were going to be making an anime adaptation of it. Is creator of Bleach, Tite Kubo, his one-shot manga of Burn the Witch.
Yes.
Now, I'm a huge Bleach fan, and you'll be noticing on our site we'll be having reviews of all the seasons of Bleach, because hopefully you've been paying attention to anime news. They are going to be bringing the Bleach anime back in 2021, and they're going to be doing probably one of the raddest story arcs that came from the manga, which is a 1,000-year blood arc, blood war arc.
Blood war arc.
And I'm super stoked to see this play out in animated, especially with Kenpachi finally getting his Bankai. If you've read the manga and you know that part, I'm getting goosebumps of it because I fucking loved Kenpachi. And when that came up in the manga, I lost my shit.
Oh yeah, and and that character also is actually one of my favorites because at least his Zanpato has a really interesting story behind it.
And it does, and then also when he uses it, it fits him.
It fits him.
So we're gonna stop blowing Bleach here.
Yeah.
And go to Burn the Witch. So Burn the Witch is about, in this world, there is a front side and a reverse side to London. Historically, 72% of all the deaths in London are related to dragons, fantastical beings invisible to the majority of the people. While unknown to most, some people have been standing up to these dragons. Only the inhabitants of reverse London who live in the hidden reverse side can see the dragons. Even then, only a select few become qualified enough as witches or wizards to make direct contact with them. Now, the protagonists of the story are a witch duo of Noelle Nihihashi and Nini Spankle. They are protection agents for Wingbind, an organization for dragon conservation and management. Their mission is to protect and manage the dragons within London on behalf of the people. Now, one thing I always love about Tite Kubo is his character designs, but then also the personalities he gives his characters.
Yes.
And Noelle and Nini are so fucking polar opposites that they're so fun to watch because Noelle's kind of very by the book, like, we're doing this. Okay, this is kind of at our league. We need to contact it. And then Nini's like, no, fuck that. We're going to take the glory. Like, let's do it. And the action, like the story, the action, the pacing in this is amazing.
It's frenetic, but it's almost kind of like this really, really poetic freneticness to the pacing, where it's actually normally seeing a story taking like this type of really fast pace could turn a person off. But I don't know. I think it's just because of the creator's his certain style.
Well, yeah,
because if you look at Bleach is the same way. You look at that pacing; it is balls to the wall right from day one. You get this idea. Okay, these characters are nonstop.
Yeah,
but they're so told very well with their chemistry that it doesn't bother you. The pacing doesn't bother you.
Well, and the characters don't. And there's characters in Bleach that you love to hate, or in characters you find fucking annoying.
Yeah. But when it comes to the main characters,
like Rukia's brother's the only character that I still cannot be like, I think he's pretty cool. I still think he's a dick.
Yeah.
But, that's how he is.
That's how he is.
But in this, when they first introduced Nini, it's kind of like, okay, she has a job in the other world. She's an idol.
Like a pop idol of some sort.
And she just kind of seems over it. And it's just kind of whatever. And that she loves the action. She loves what she does in Reverse London. And I think originally this was done as a film. And Crunchyroll split it into 3 parts. And the director of it was Tatsuro Kawano. This is his first full directing credit. He's done other stuff like assistant directing, other departments, but this is for first full directing credit that I could find.
Yeah.
The production company looks mainly to be Studio Colorido. They've done Control Bear, Fascinating Days. They've done the movie Hinata no Aoshigure. And they also worked on the Batman Ninja film.
Which you can kind of tell.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's...
But it's quality animation. And to get to, real quick, I'm just going to get to the voice actors here, and then we'll jump into our usual banter about the show. Nini Spankle is voiced by Asami Tano, who was Commissioner P in The God of High School, another great series. And then Saki Nakado, who is from Zombieland Saga. And then Noelle Niishi is voiced by Yuina Yamada. She did Michiru Kota from Idle Time Pre-Para and Misery in Kirito Pre-chan. Yuina didn't have that many voice acting credits, so seems fairly new.
She's relatively new.
But the voice actors for this, again, I think are absolutely perfect.
Yes.
And because Asami doing Nini does a great job of that. I want the glory, that tone of somebody who seems bored and thirsts and lusts after something more exciting with every turn.
But still keeps that heroic element.
Yeah.
Like you could tell that she's a good person.
Oh, yeah. And then Noelle is kind of that, she's it kind of seems monotone or very robotic, but sweet and, somebody
protective.
who, yeah.
Like at the end of the day is like, while she's at the very beginning portrayed as she wants just money, she wants the reward of doing the stuff. But when it comes to people that are close to her, like Balgo and Nini,
yeah,
she's very protective. Like she'll jump in for a Balgo, which Balgo dude is awesome. I think he might be really annoying.
Yeah,
but I like that type of comedic character that basically is like, I don't care. Bye.
Where can I get a stuffed Oishi plush?
The plush? Oh man, that'd be so awesome.
And with this, I totally had a brain fart for a second when we were talking about this. Jesus. What I love about this show is, this movie essentially.
It's a movie.
Is the fact that they balance the reverse side and the front side of London, and it's not where it's it's a drastic change. It just seems like they're just in another London, and so I don't know if I'm the only one who noticed this, but the first dragon in the first episode, air quotes, that they run into looks like looks like Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon.
Okay. The one thing I did watch, I'm out. Okay. The one thing I did watch though this week that I was really surprised with was NXT UK. NXT UK was really good.
I haven't watched the UK stuff yet.
Walter versus Dragunov.
That I want to watch that.
Oh,
I watched most of Halloween Havoc.
Yeah. Halloween Havoc was good.
I loved it. I'm slightly enjoying NXT more than Raw and SmackDown.
Oh, I am too.
The only thing on Raw that I'm enjoying, I like the character design for the dragons. They're all different. I even like the deer creature from the beginning.
Dude, that caught me off guard.
And then the giant like bat bear fucking thing that.
Oh yeah.
So that's one thing with Tite Kubo, because he did this. He did zombie powder, and each show has his style, or each manga had his style. But it was still evenly paced, even though Zombie Powder was very short. I would have loved to see an anime for that.
Oh my god!
And I'm really happy that they made one for this, because when I found this, I was fucking excited, because like, oh sweet, because I have to go back and I have to find out where I dropped off on Bleach to reread it to finish it, because I think I was most way through the last arc, and I was like, oh shit, I gotta find it, because sites started taking it off because they were licensed. Because obviously it was licensed, but they were starting to put those episodes out, or those volumes out. So I was like, shit, I gotta read these real quick. And then the sites just took them all down. So I gotta go buy them all now.
They're really like
cracking down on like, which is great. And I'm hoping that means more stuff comes over.
Yeah.
So, and again, I'm happy, it kind of sucks for, me finding stuff that I can't purchase, but I should say purchase just yet. But I'm glad this was found. I'm hoping Zombie Powder gets another look over. I really would like to see, I believe I have to check the news again, that they're going to be doing a sequel. He's going to be doing a sequel manga to this.
Yeah.
Which I'm hoping leads to another, I don't care if it's if it's another movie or if it's a new full series. I think this would be great.
Well, especially like with the characters themselves, I think there's a lot you can do with this concept. On paper, it doesn't, when you first told me to actually cover this series, the synopsis itself really, again, does not do it justice, because like just basically saying, oh, there's a reverse London and then
there's a front London and then a reverse London,
and then you have two witches that go around and fight dragons. That's not a really great synopsis for what.
Well, it doesn't fully explain what he's doing in the manga and obviously in the animated part.
I like how you brought up the whole point of his concepts on dragons, because those are totally unique. You
can tell that it's him. It's his spin on it, or it's his take on it. And he, even in Bleach and even in Zombie Powder, and even those obviously didn't have a lot of animal creatures in it, but you can look at how he differentiated the hollows in Bleach.
Yes.
And then even when they go to Hesse Mundo, and then you have those characters,
there's like, he gives thought.
Each character has their own personality and own feel to it. Yeah, they're all like on the same side, or they're all.
There's a different. There's
each character is different, but also part of the same field.
Yeah, and like throwing in little things, like the thing that I really liked about that first dragon we saw, which was the deer, like collecting the flowers. Apparently,
before they bloom,
there's something special about them. And if you do it, you're not supposed to do it because it's illegal.
Right. And but what I like is that this whole reverse London has all this stuff going on about it.
There's some real creative thought.
And what I like is that the whole city is kind of transformable. Where if there's a dragon there, they can be like, oh, we're going on lockdown. And everything pops over that, hey, this is on lockdown. Please, it's kind of like, get the fuck inside, get out, hide. And every time, like, dragon insurance.
And I like that. But I like
that it's not just a reverse London, where when we talked about Doho Hidoro, where there was the real world, and then there was the other side.
Yes.
That was just basically this like rundown, like third world country type looking place, where it was just kind of a wizard's playground.
Yes.
This is a full on thriving city, just as Front London would be. And not to say that in Dohoidoro, the other side wasn't a thriving city, but they made it look more dilapidated.
Yeah. And on top of that, the difference between the quirkiness of Dohoidoro and this to me felt like there was more substance behind the creative process that creating this. Like, as I said, the synopsis sounds really easy, but what really, really impressed me was he took the synopsis and added his own unique ideas to those like bland concepts, like not making the dragons the atypical scale dragons with wings and breathe fire and all that good stuff. No, they all are different, and they all have like a different idea or concept behind them. Like even like the first one that they killed, that there's a dark dragon. I love that. That was cool. That basically all of a sudden a dragon that becomes corrupted becomes a dark dragon, which becomes stronger.
But what I like is how he does that. How it loses. It's like its head, its face comes off.
Face comes off,
and then it's like this weird. It's that's where, as Casey would say, that's kind of the fucked up anime part.
Yeah,
it's got the tongue coming out and shit. But through all 3 episodes, it never loses its pacing. It's always fun to watch. And I keep going back to Bleach, but that's because he keeps the pacing throughout that as well.
Yeah.
Whether he slows it down and kind of starts telling a story, then they go to action, then they kind of reveal a bit. Won't get into the filler arc, but that's what I like about Tite Kubo. That's what got me into Bleach so fucking hard.
Uh-huh.
And what's funny is during that time, it was like Bleach, One Piece, and Naruto.
And I would take Bleach all the time.
And in the order of out of those 3 that I like, I obviously, for listeners, I understand they're not by the same person. I get it.
Yes.
But as far as how they grabbed me and like kept my attention, it was Bleach, Naruto, and then One Piece.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in my defense, the reason why One Piece is last is because how massive that fucking like series is.
Yes.
Not just like in manga, but in the fucking animated series.
And
everybody's like, oh, you just got to sit down. You just got to watch. You just got to get through it. And I've seen some cool shit from the newer episodes, but I'm like, man, that's like 600-700 fucking episodes or something like that. Like,
yep.
That is a lot for me to fucking burn through.
And a lot of people don't understand. You just can't sit down and just start from one and just binge it, right? Because like there's so much going on in the series that you're gonna lose something.
Well, it's not so much you're gonna lose something. And all 3 of these series that I just mentioned have great stories.
Yeah.
They have a lot, like each creator has filled in the world and built a world around their characters.
Yes.
And they're great. I think One Piece is awesome. I want to at some point I want to fucking get through all of it and get caught up. When that's going to happen, I have no fucking clue. Just like everybody who's listening and just like you and I, we all have that proverbial fucking list of anime that we need to get through.
Yeah.
That is always shit being added to it. There were at least 3 or 4 anime that I saw that just premiered, and I'm like, well, shit, that's on my fucking list now.
But here's the thing about bringing it back to Burn the Witch, I would right now I would absolutely recommend it.
Oh no, but I recommend this completely. And if you have the Viz Media or Shonen Jump apps on your tablets, you can read the one shot.
Yeah, the one shot. And honestly,
but it's split into chapters. So before you say it's not a one shot, Greg, there's multiple chapters. I understand.
Honestly,
it's technically a one shot with multiple chapters.
Honestly, with this particular series, I would say I like this more than Bleach, even because I feel just with Burn the Witch, there's freedom to his creativity in this.
Oh yeah,
like he's allowed to throw anything and everything at the wall and see if it sticks.
Right, but
I truly appreciate.
But he does that in Bleach as well, because you can tell that by the difference in the characters. But
yes.
Here's where you and I are going to differ. And I think it's just because I fell in love with Bleach so hard when I was reading it, when it was coming, like when it first started, when it first came in America, is how well that pulled me in. This pulled me in just as hard. Mm-hmm. The only thing that doesn't put it above Bleach for me is that there's not more for me right now.
Exactly. And that's the only thing that hinders
the fact that they've announced a second manga series or a second one shot, or if he's doing, whatever he's doing with the second series or the sequel to this is going to tell whether this takes Bleach's top spot in my gigantic list of top animes. which is almost just as long as the animes that I have to watch, and the spots change all the time, and it's never really always in no particular order.
That's how it always goes with any anime list.
I mean, I probably should say that number one will always probably be Gunbuster, just for that was one of the first ones I ever watched as a young anime fan that I found at a Blockbuster Video. For those listening that might not be as elderly as me and David, Blockbuster Video was a place where you went to go rent VHS tapes. Now, VHS tapes were giant cassette tapes that would play videos before the DVD.
Yeah.
And some people are going to listen and go, Greg, you're a fucking asshole. I know what a VHS is.
Actually, you'd be surprised.
Well, again, I explain this stuff just so people don't go, what the fuck is a VHS tape?
And you should. You should. Honestly, nowadays, you have to explain that because, like,
but there was a
that anime fans nowadays they don't go back and actually look at the animes that came before.
Well, it's not even they don't go back and look at it. They can go back and watch it because of streaming. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's great that Funimation, Crunchyroll, High Dive, and I'm trying to remember if there's one other one, and like Amazon and Netflix have anime on it.
Yes.
And I love that a lot of them have a back catalog of older stuff for people to go and watch. What I think is a little bit sad to me is that there are some shows that they don't bring back, that they don't have a option to go and watch, or certain shows that I think, this would be great to have. Gunbuster being one of them, because they've heavily edited that from the version that I have.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And if you can find like the original cut of Gunbuster, I say it's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Some people might not enjoy it because maybe mech anime is not your thing, but I think that was one of those pivotal moments where it originally started as a parody of mech anime. And then because it got so big, people loved it so much that the creator shifted gears in the last episode and it became very serious.
Very serious.
But it was always story driven. And that's what I love about Tite Kubo stuff is it's story driven and it's pacing.
It's pacing.
And with Bleach, Zombie Powder, and now with Burn the Witch, those are all properties of his,
mm-hmm.
That I fully support. And the fact there's more Burn the Witch coming out is great.
Really excited.
It's awesome because I feel that now there's more stuff coming out and there's more of a chance of stuff coming over from Japan that now will be shown to a wider audience over here in America. Now, as most of you listening understand, we have it where, there's a show that comes out, it gets one season, and that's it.
And then
maybe down the road it'll get a second one years later, but that never happens. I have a list of them that I would love a second season for, and I'll never get it.
There's so many animes. So you just get only one shot to succeed, and if they don't get exactly what that studio wants, forget it. You're never.
It's not going to come back.
It's never going to come back.
And one thing that a lot of American fans bitch about is, well, why don't they do? Well, it was popular in America, but it didn't do well in Japan. That's the point. The one anime that's changed that has been Demon Slayer.
Yeah,
and I think we're going to start seeing more and more anime come out in America, and more anime probably get a second season based on not only how it does in Japan, but how it does in the U.S.
You see that nowadays, especially with like Netflix. Netflix coming out with their original, quote unquote, original.
Yeah, the fact that I've gotten 3 fucking seasons of Baki is
amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I'm in the middle. I've just started the 3rd season, which is probably the worst idea ever because I have so much other shit I need to watch. But I wanted to find out what the fuck happens.
Yes.
And before we move on to like a little bit of news and a little bit of, kind of hopefuls, I think you and I both agree we highly recommend Burn the Witch.
Absolutely. Because like this is one of those animes, after I watched the 3 episodes, I'm like going, if you don't at least give the time to watch Burn the Witch, you're going to probably miss out on one of the biggest series that could possibly.
Well, even if it's
in
just
5 years, people would be looking at Burn the Witch.
Well,
like how people look at Bleach.
Right. Well, even if this just comes to a second manga, that's a one shot, and a second movie, and that's it, and then Taichi ends it with that second series, I'll be happy. I mean, I'm just happy that there's more coming out, and I'm hoping because of this, because this was a one shot, and this gained so much popularity that they animated it. I'm hoping that there is a Korean manga, and I've brought it up multiple times on the show, Solo Leveling. I fucking want an animated version of Solo Leveling, because God of High School is a Korean
and is amazing
manga, and that manga is amazing. The animated show is amazing. Solo Leveling, if you have not read it, find it. Whatever service you use to read manga online, look up Solo Leveling. It's, I think, 100, almost 130 chapters in. I think maybe a few under 130.
Mm-hmm.
And when I found it, it was already, I think, up to 100 chapters. I read all 100 in a day and a half. I burned through it. It is so fucking good. It is so fun to read, because you have this character who starts off as weak, and yes, it's your typical shonen. If you want to classify a weak character, gets a second chance at to be strong, and completely over levels himself.
Yes,
because he wants to be stronger. He wants, that power, but he still does good. But again, I think an animated version of Solo Leveling would be great. I've been reading and seeing things where they're talking about that it might happen. It could come out 2021. There's petitions for it. I think if the company that did the God of High School did that, they'd be they're perfect for that.
Oh yeah.
So my recommendation for manga at the end of the show is going to be, as I've been blowing Solo Leveling. I think almost on every any episode I think I can mention it on, I've fucking talked about it.
Well, because it's like, that's the only way new anime ever gets made, is like, it has to start in the manga side, and then it needs that fan base to carry it
right
in an anime.
So anybody listening has any connections to manga companies, tell them to bring over Solo Leveling from Korea. Because even though I've read it all, I will fucking buy it. I will buy every volume. If it's just it's a full collected one, fuck it, I'll buy that too. It's that good. I can't blow it enough. And then again, like I said, we have a brand new site that's going to have manga reviews on it.
Yep.
As well. And you're going to be seeing some of the stuff that I'm reading, some of the stuff David's reading. My wife Casey's getting in on it. You're going to have something from every one of the hosts, and even some special guest writers. And one thing for our listeners, if you're a Godzilla fan, I've been blowing it on our social media. There's a brand new Godzilla anime coming out next year with character designs by the creator from Blue Exorcist, AI No Exorcist, Blue Exorcist.
Yeah.
And then Godzilla is being designed by by a Studio Ghibli animator. Which if you've seen our social media, even if you've just seen the news press on it, his version of Godzilla, or their version of Godzilla, looks fucking awesome.
Yes. I have to say that basically that version of Godzilla I cannot wait to see, because
the whole show looks awesome.
Yeah.
So to wrap it up, guys, we could go on and on about Godzilla. Me and David are giant fans. I even have a fucking tattoo of Godzilla on me. So if that gives you an idea of how much we can talk Godzilla. So that is it for this episode of Otaku Force. Again, I'm Gregory Darkside Holmes with my Filipino brother, David Sabal. Again, guys, you can find us on RaymanDigitalMedia.com, OtakuForce.com, Stitcher, iTunes, and Spotify. All right, everybody. That's it for us tonight, or today, whenever you're listening. Be safe.
Now!